Kuzazampo, welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Sonam Pem. Our top stories this week. His Majesty the King grants audience to Bhutanese in Kuwait while on royal visit. More than 2,600 civil servants leave the civil service. And police and Big C investigating how answer scripts of 40 students went missing. His Majesty the King was in the state of Kuwait on a royal visit from 16th to 19th January. His Majesty the King was received by the Crown Prince of Kuwait, His Highness Sheikh Mashal Al Ahmad Al Jaber Al Sabah at the Bayan Palace. During the visit, His Majesty met the royal family and senior Kuwaiti government officials. His Majesty the King also granted an audience to Bhutanese living and working in Kuwait. This year marks the 40th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between Bhutan and Kuwait.
There are over 3,500 Bhutanese living and working in Kuwait and approximately 5,300 Bhutanese in the Gulf countries. While in Kuwait, His Majesty met the royal family and senior government officials. Yesterday, His Majesty met the former Prime Minister of Kuwait, Sheikh Nasir Al Mohammed Al Ahmad Al Jaber Al Sabah, who is a longtime friend of Bhutan. Today, His Majesty met Sheikh Ahmad Mishal Al Ahmad Al Sabah, Chairman of the Government Performance Agency of Kuwait, and Sheikh Dr. Mishal Jaber Al Ahmad Al Sabah, Director General of the Kuwait Investment Agency. The royal visit to Kuwait concludes tomorrow.
The 9-day Sangye Menlai Drupchen in Hlinsi concluded recently. His Holiness the Jekempo presided over the prayer ceremony at Oso Namdrol Genzindratsa. The Drupchen ended with the unfurling of Sangye Menlai Thongdil to the public. More than 200 monks from the Genzindratsa took part in the prayer ceremony. The people of Shah Dage organized the Drupchen this year to mark victory over the pandemic and for the well-being of all sentient beings. There is a need to enhance youth engagement in elections and voting. The participants of the recently held Bhutan Democracy Forum raised this. Some of them said relevant agencies should provide more voter education to youth. According to the statistical information on Bhutan's third parliamentary elections 2018, the least voter turnout in the electronic voting machines for the National Council election was recorded in the age group of 18 to 24 years.
In 2018, the voter turnout recorded in the EVMs under the age category of 18 to 24 years was a little over 16,000. This, according to the statistical information on Bhutan's third parliamentary elections 2018, is just about 4% of the total registered voters. According to Bhutan Center for Media and Democracy, youths are unprepared and lack crucial knowledge regarding the democratic process.
As soon as you turn 18, we assume that people know how to be part of that democratic process and also know how to, assess and evaluate candidates, political parties. But many young people that we have interacted with, from our interaction, we came to know that they are not really engaged in these democratic processes.
Among others, the forum saw discussions on educating young children on democracy right from school, rather than waiting until they attain the age of 18.
Especially in rural settings, schools are the main information sources for young people. To encourage more youth participation in democracy and elections, schools should not wait until the children are of the age to vote. For instance, the importance of elections should be taught to them in their early learning stages.
So when they turn 18 and when they get that voter card, they don't really have a good grounding in what is their role and how they go about selecting the right candidate. Right? So I think educating the young people even before they become eligible to vote is very important.
For Toshiangden, Karmasamtin Wangda, PBS News.
The upcoming National Council elections may not see all of the old faces. Only 10 of the current National Council members say they want to recontest in the upcoming NC elections. The Election Commission has yet to announce the exact dates, for the National Council elections. There are only a few months left for the NC elections.
The NC chairperson Tashi Doji is among the 10 incumbent members who say they will not be recontesting in the NC elections. Although rumors are afloat that he is planning to take part in the NA elections, the NC chair said he has yet to decide on his future plans. The majority of those deciding to step out of the NC sphere are from the central region. Nima from Bumthang, Ugen Namge from Ha, Pema Drakpa from Jemgang, Tsewang Rinzin from Thimphu, and Tashi Samdrup from Trongsa have all decided not to recontest. The remaining 4 are Jimmy Wachu from Samdrup Jongkar, Lhatu from Tashigang, Tempa Doji from Lhinsi, and Dan Kumar Sunwar from Zirang. Meanwhile, 10 members say they are planning to recontest the NC elections. From the west, Sange Doji from Chuka and Ugen Sering from Poro have decided to recontest. Similarly, from the east, Sonam Pelzom from Mongar, Choning Doji from Pemakatsel, and Karma Gelsen from Tashiansi are all planning to take part in the upcoming elections. From the central region, Haki Dolma from Pinaka, Doji Khandu from Gasa also want to recontest. In the south, Anant Rai from Sarpang and Sujaman Thapa from Dagana will also recontest. Tirthaman Rai from Samsi said he also wants to recontest. But since he does not fulfill ECB's new rule on candidates requiring at least 10 years of experience by a few months, he said he has put an appeal letter to the Commission. Meanwhile, the ECB has started its preparations. The Commission recently completed conducting the voters' education and is currently updating the electoral roll and providing dispute settlement trainings as well. During a seminar for aspiring NC candidates held by the ECB in October last year, around 100 people attended the session. Devika Pradhan, BBS News.
A record 2,612 civil servants left the civil service last year. This is an all-time high, surpassing 2021's record by more than 800. The RCSC also saw the highest number of voluntary resignations last year in nearly a decade. From the total number of people resigned, more than 60% resigned voluntarily. This is according to the latest records with the RCSC.
Of the total number of employees leaving the civil service last year, 712 are from the erstwhile 10 ministries and the remaining 1900 are from other agencies such as the constitutional bodies, the legislative, the judiciary and autonomous agencies among others. The number of separations from the civil service has been soaring over the years. For instance, over 1,200 civil servants left the civil service in 2020 and more than 1,700 in 2021. Separations from the civil service include compulsory retirement, contract completion, death, special retirement, superannuation, and voluntary resignations. At 199, the erstwhile Ministry of Agriculture and Forests in 2022 lost the most number of its employees to separations. In addition, over 110 civil servants left the Ministry of Finance and more than 100 separated from the Ministry of Health, followed by the Ministry of Economic Affairs at 67. Moreover, Ministry of Information and Communications and the Ministry of Home and Cultural Affairs each lost 50 staff. Similarly, 41 from the Ministry of Works and Human Settlements, 37 from the Ministry of Education, and 32 civil servants from the Ministry of Labour and Human Resources left the service. 22 from the erstwhile Ministry of Foreign Affairs is the list on the list. However, agencies delinking from the civil service also add up to the separation rate. With 64 employees affected, this contributes to a little over 2% of the total separations. Of 1,900 separations from other agencies, close to 1,100 civil servants left the service without early retirement schemes, while over 70 resigned with early retirement schemes. In addition, more than 600 civil servants left the service following superannuation, contract completion, death, and some were compulsorily retired. And 18 were terminated owing to administrative disciplinary issues, and only 22 retired with special retirement schemes. An additional 651 civil servants from 10 ministries and other agencies availed themselves of extraordinary leave or EOL last year. Meanwhile, the Commission recently recruited more than 800 civil servants. Devika Pradhan, BBS News.
The first ever India-Bhutan railway construction is expected to commence within the next 2 years. This is according to the Minister for Foreign Affairs and External Trade, who said the construction of the railway would take 2 to 3 years. The railway, which will become Bhutan's only such infrastructure, will connect Gyaliphu in Serpong to Kokrajhar in Assam.
The India-Bhutan railway plan was discussed during the Prime Minister's first visit to India, but the project was delayed due to the pandemic. However, a joint survey of the project was completed recently. The 57-kilometer route connecting Kokrajhar to Gyaliphu is expected to boost the country's foreign trade.
This will reduce the cost of transportation by our exporters, especially in terms of boulders and chips, and so it will make it much more efficient. Not only that, many of our products, export products like ferrosilicon, etc., also being exported to all over India. So using the Indian railroad will make things much faster and much more efficient. Currently, our exporters face a lot of difficulties with the several restrictions that have been put in place while traveling through India by trucks. So having the railroad will make it much easier, cheaper and faster.
He also added that the construction of the rail link will set off prospects of more railway construction in the southern and eastern parts of the country. A survey for a similar project connecting West Bengal to Samtsi was carried out in 2020. However, land acquisition issues along several Indian tea estates made it difficult to start the project. Works on a detailed project report for the Kokrajhar-Gyaliphu railway construction project will begin soon. The budgetary details have yet to be finalized. Bhutan and India signed a memorandum of understanding in 2005 to link the bordering towns of the two countries by railway. Tashyangden, BBS News.
Bhutan's economy is expected to grow by 4.1% in the current fiscal year. This is according to the World Bank's latest Global Economic Prospects report. According to the report, the growth forecast is helped by the opening of the borders in September last year, which will support growth in the industry and service sectors.
Bhutan's GDP growth rate slowed down to negative 2.3% during the first year of the pandemic in 2020. A year later, it further slowed to negative 3.3%. The current forecast is 0.6% lower than the World Bank's projection in June last year. The report forecasts slow growth for Bhutan in the 2023 to 2024 fiscal year at 3.7%. Lower public investment and delays in several hydropower projects were cited as reasons for the slow growth projection. Meanwhile, Bhutan's growth projection is low compared to other South Asian nations. Only Sri Lanka and Pakistan, which is expected to grow at negative 4.2% and 2% respectively, are below Bhutan in the growth projections. The Maldives' GDP is expected to grow at 8.2%, followed by India at 6.9%. Bangladesh and Nepal's GDP are expected to grow at 5.2% and 5.1% respectively. With camera person Sonam Tashi, this is Srinidiki for BBS News.
40 Class 12 students of Trasitse Higher Secondary School in Tashigang are reappearing the board exam for 4 papers. The answer sheets for English 2, Physics, Chemistry and Mathematics went missing when the Big C officials opened consignment of the answer sheets from this school for evaluation last Friday. The police, Big C and the school authority are investigating how the examination envelopes for the 4 subjects that went missing.
The 2022 Bhutan Higher Secondary Education Certificate examination was completed on 31st December last year. The assessment of all the answer scripts of 84 schools began earlier this month at Losel Jaso Academy in Serbang. An internal investigation was conducted to assess if all necessary security arrangements and standard operating procedures were followed while packing, storing and handing over the answer scripts to the Bhutan Post for delivery. It was found that the secured boxes had been intentionally tampered and specific examination envelopes for certain subjects had been removed. The principal of Trasitse Higher Secondary School said he received 10 sealed boxes containing answer scripts and unused items for the supervisor on the 31st of December. Since the next day was Sunday, he kept the box in examination cell under lock and key and left the school caretaker to guard the examination cell. And he added that he didn't notice tampering of the box while taking it for delivery on 2nd January. Following an emergency meeting chaired by the Prime Minister yesterday, BCSEA has filed a case with the police in Gyeonggi. The re-examination is scheduled from 19th to 22nd of this month, either at Trashiji Higher Secondary School or at Gyeonggi. According to the news release from the ministry, all arrangements for re-examination have been made and full support is being extended to the affected students in terms of transportation, accommodation, meals and other logistics. The students will be briefed and given some time to mentally prepare for the re-examination. Counseling support is also being made available. Karmasamtin Wongda for PBS News.
The Health Ministry is planning to roll out the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines for children aged between 6 months and 5 years. However, the vaccine will be administered only for children with chronic medical conditions. According to the ministry, they came to this decision following consultation with the health experts.
About 800 children aged 6 months to 5 years have underlying medical conditions. This is according to the Health Ministry.
We have not received many numbers of children between 6 months and 5 years with chronic medical conditions. Before we start with the vaccination for this group, we would like to again request parents to register with us if their children have chronic medical conditions. Chronic medical conditions does not mean sicknesses like the common cold and diarrhea, but children who have been sick for more than 6 months.
He added that although the COVID-19 pandemic has subsided, vaccinating this group of children is crucial.
Vaccines for children are important because they are small and have weak immunity. Our country is small and has less population. We also have a low birth rate, so it is important for us to protect our children. We should not let our children fall sick.
The Health Ministry has ordered Pfizer pediatric vaccines worth about 6.9 million Yoltam.
The vaccines will be purchased in phased manner after finalizing the number of children who needs to be vaccinated. Health officials said this is to reduce the wastage of the vaccines. About 3,000 doses of pediatric vaccines would be purchased in the first phase. With camera person Dojisring, Kilidem, PBS News.
The Ministry of Health has detected 39 new HIV cases in the last 6 months from July to December 2022. In total, 79 cases were reported in 2022 alone, including the 40 cases detected from January to June 2022. According to the ministry, this is one of the highest annual total cases detected up until now. Of the 39 recently detected cases, 23 are between the age group of 25 to 49, 13 are above 50 years old, and the remaining 3 are below 25 years of age. While the majority of the cases contracted HIV through unsafe heterosexual practices, 2 cases were from mother-to-child transmission and 1 from blood donor screening. The total number of cases reported from 1993 until December 2022 is 874. At present, about 660 people are living with HIV in the country. Team Singye has won the Men's National Cricket Championship, which was held in Gyeonggi recently. The team defeated Team Chung by 135 runs in the final match. The first ever Men's National Cricket Championship was held to train and select the national players for an upcoming international tournament.
60 players from 6 districts participated in the week-long Men's National Cricket Championship. They were selected based on their performances. Upon reaching Gyeonggi, they were divided into 4 teams and competed for the title. According to the Bhutan Cricket Council Board, they will now select 28 players, of which 14 will be chosen as national players after playing some more matches. The national team will be participating in the upcoming ACC Men's Challenge Cup, which will be held in Thailand next month. It is the qualifying round for Asia Cup 2023.
We came here early so that we can get some training from our head coach, but I couldn't perform as expected. They will select the top 30 players, so if I get selected in the top 30, I will try my best.
I tried my best, but I don't know whether I will be selected or not. There are many talented players.
Selection is obviously based on their performance here, and we will be also looking at how the mentality of the players also, whether they are capable of playing in the international and fitness wise, a lot of things we'll be looking at.
Meanwhile, the Women's National Cricket Championship will start on Tuesday. For Karma Wangdi, Kilitim, PBS News.
That's all for this week. Thank you for joining us.